So that was quite cool. I'm happy I did that, which is
That's fucking
lekker.
awesome.
All
That's
right,
fucking
let's
awesome.
jump
I love
into the
that.
news. I've got quite a lot of Yuga news that we got to get through. This week alone, there were three very, very big announcements. So let's jump into it. The latest news. So the first one is we've been given a lot more clarity on what these heavy metal NFTs are, the HV NFTs. So we now know that there's going to be these different power sources, and they're each going to have different traits. And I'm gonna give you a lot more info on it. So if you have a look over here, just want to take you to the OpenSea first and just show you the collection. So we've seen a really quite a nice rise. They're just under 2 Ethereum at the moment. And you'll see that we've got each box and each of them have got now different traits. And we know that each trait is a different source, and that we also know that no mecha will go against their source, their nature. So they've told us that there won't be any change to the nature. So that's going to play a bit into gamification of them, because you'll only be able to get certain attributes from certain traits. So if we have a look here, you've got 6,000. Okay, so currently the collection is 25,000, but the collection is actually going to be 30,000. So just keep in mind that these numbers that I'm showing you are going to change slightly, but you've got 6,500 as the glitch, which is the floor ones over here that you're seeing. You've then got 5,300 of the dynamics, which is this one over here. You've then got 5,000 of the bios, which are these pink ones over here. You've then got 4,400 of the knights. Just want to see if I can find you one. All right, OpenSea is not loading quick enough. You've then got 2,700 of the Celestials. You've then got 943 of the Reavers. You've then got 245 of the Hollow. And then we know that there's only one legendary, literally a legendary. There's only one, and that's to the guy who bought the key from that gamer who won it. So that's a legendary one. So we've got a much better idea on these traits and now what they do, right? So we're seeing that we're playing we've gone quite far into the journey over here. So that we finished the summonsing. We've now had the mech types revealed. That's what's happening right now. That's what we're talking about right now. Um, and if you have a look over here, all right. I love the art, bro. I mean, just look how cool
Wow.
this is. So they've given each one like a board ape is holding each different one. They're really building out the IP here, which is really, really, really cool. I still have my concerns with regards to the dilution of the ecosystem in general. There's just so
Wait,
many
we should
assets,
talk
and you're
about
going to
that.
see. You're going to see in the next story for Yuga, there's further dilution happening. So I think let's talk about that when we get there, right?
Yep.
But there's
Yep.
definitely a lot more coming out there. So you can see here it says your HV is unique, dynamic, so it evolves based on your decision. So there's definitely some game theory here. There are 8 different types. Each has its own skills, personalities, and roles, but they're designed to transform. Okay. And then you go into each one of them. So you have a look here, you've got glitch. Here you can see no bugs, just features, right? Then you've got dynamic, life and death of the party, right? Seems like it's going to be quite impulsive, that one. You then got bio, it says eco unfriendly. You've then got night, it says vintage heroics, doesn't think you're funny. You've then got celestial, look how cool that is. And there you're looking ancient, the original shooting star. You've then got a reaver, right? And that's thieves in the darkness, they slay. And then you've got your hold over here. Don't blink. There's only going to be 250 of those. And then we've got our one legendary that we spoke about, right? And if you want to have a look at them all there, that's how some of the artwork will look. So we're getting into a glimpse. The trait will play a role in it. The color will be the trait, but you're going to get lots of different combinations within them. So finally, we're getting to see what these HVs are actually going to look like. And finally, we're getting confirmation that they are actually going to turn into a sort of PFP within the Yuga ecosystem, which we weren't 100% sure of before. What do you think in general?
Well, I've been actually like observing how the apes move as more of like as an IP and seeing how they do it to sort of like garner what people think about A, the dilution, and then B, the complication that comes with, because they're trying to build like a metaverse gaming world, which is gonna be, without a doubt gonna have to be diluted and big and complicated in general, like in the same way that like Minecraft is fucking complicated. Like I couldn't tell you everything in it. I think people who play it couldn't even tell you everything that's in it. And so it's inevitable that's going to happen. But I've just been kind of observing how they move and what people think. Like I know I had a couple people in my Discord ask questions about. They were like, "Hey, why are you dropping like 40 to 50 torches when the last one was 36?" And I was like, "Well, I'm honestly just experimenting a little bit. Like there's way more demand for the torches. Like I'm already capped out on interest. Like there's like 3 times as many people who want it than I actually have supply for." And so I was like, okay, like let me try a little bit more supply because we're trying to expand the IP. And so that's why I've been studying the Bored Apes. DeGods is also, they just went to Bitcoin. They're expanding on Polygon and Solana. They're doing a bunch of stuff. And it seems that like if you can get past the hump of people saying, like basically just naysayers saying, "Hey, we don't like this because this, and this," it's like, okay, well, have you considered the other side of like if we just try it anyway and see what happens? Because you're going to find something else to complain about next week when we do it. And that's been really interesting. So I actually don't have I have way less problems with the Bored Apes as what they're doing because I'm starting to see what they're trying to do rather than me looking at it as like a money grab or a cash grab, like another collection or another fundraising. I'm like, hold on, maybe it's not, we're not looking at it the right way is kind of how I've started to change my perspective on Bored Apes. But this thing specifically, like this specific thing, I don't have that many thoughts on this one. Not as technical as you, maybe. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, look, I think if we were in a bull market at the moment, I would be less concerned about another collection with 30,000 units under the Yuga
Mm,
ecosystem. But I mean, if we're thinking that there's literally probably 5,000 active wallets concurrently at any time, a collection
mm,
of 30,000 is really, really pretty big. With that said, the other side of it is to get into the Yuga ecosystem properly, like a mutant or something. Even a kennel a dog is about 80 ETH, a mutant's about 13 ETH. That's unaffordable for most. And if you can, in some way, lower the barrier of entry to one and a
mm.
half ETH or so, um, to be able to get into the ecosystem, then why not? But the counter argument to that is that they already have Otherside and Otherdeed,
Yep.
which definitely is part of their collection and is around that floor price. So I do think, if I'm being quite honest, and there's no one really Yuga maxis like me, but if I do think they long term are making things hard on themselves by having so many different assets,
Mm,
because as they have more and more assets, they have to deliver more and more value. And the way
yep.
they've been delivering value in the past is mostly through airdrops of more NFTs, which just
Yeah.
means that every NFT gets an NFT. At some point, there's too much supply, there's not enough demand.
Right.
With that said, anytime I've faded Yuga in the past, I've eaten my words, but I am concerned. And that leads us directly into the next story, which
Oh,
is exactly about another Yuga collection, separate to this heavy metal one that we just spoke about. So what happened was we've seen that they had their second trip that we mentioned last week. That it was about 6 days ago, so just after our show last week. They had 7,200 people as their peak in the Otherdeed
mhm.
simultaneously, which is quite incredible. And this is just, I've taken some gameplay from another YouTuber um, over here just to show you, but you can see how clear it is. There were really no glitches as far as there being so many people inside. Their unique ability to hear different people based on how close they are was amazing. And I know it's not playing with sound now, but I have watched it with sound on various different channels. They really have done quite an incredible job in a small amount of time to build a 3D engine that can hold this amount of people at the same time. And that's definitely very, very, very impressive. It really, really is. But what they've come out and said is that now everyone who owns an Otherdeed, so that's 50,000 people or NFTs at the moment, not unique owners, will be eligible to get a vessel airdrop to them. So now that's going to be another 50,000 NFTs. Okay, so they're calling this the Legends of Mara, which is under the Otherdeed Otherside. So you could argue is completely separate to the BAYC and Mutant APR Club that we spoke about previously. But they're saying it's going to be a 2D experience with its own companion collection. So that's the vessel, which is basically further diluting their ecosystem. And if we have a look over here, if we go to the website, it says here that the vessel shower is sacred to Kodas, but one vessel will fall upon every other deed. So whether you have a Koda or not, you will be able to claim a vessel, and the vessel is going to be a separate NFT to the other deed. Okay. But not all vessels are created equal. We understand that, right? And obviously, lands with coders, I would imagine, would get rarer vessels. But every single land is going to get a vessel. It can either fall under enchanter, farmer, or hunter. Those will be your three different types. These three types of vessels. Just going to scroll down a bit more over here. So the Enchanter vessel is hatched on Mara, grants buffs and bonuses, whereas the Farmer vessel, right, gives you fragments from other deeds, and the Hunter vessel will help you fend off violent threats or attacks. So the one's almost like an army to you, the other one's almost like your workers, your farmers, or people who can actually get things off the land. And then you've got your other one, which is your enchanter, which can get you extra benefits, right? And here, if you have a look, it's called the Odiac, right? The evolution of the system. I mean, look, they're definitely telling a great story. The bottom line here is that there's going to be another 50,000 NFTs. So just following on from what we were saying, there is definitely a concern on my side of this increasing dilution. There really is.
I think so. Depending on, I think what's going to happen is we're going to have factions of NFTs that are different, and some are going to be for trading purposes, some are going to be for collecting purposes, and some NFTs are gaming NFTs, which are not meant to be $100,000 assets. They're meant to be just a normal game asset, but just like we all want and have been saying for 2 years we want, it just becomes an NFT. And I think that's exactly what these game NFTs are going to be. They're not meant to be a 20 ETH floor, 10 ETH floor, 5 ETH floor. They're meant to be 0.001 ETH probably at some point, because they want a lot of people playing the game, and they need people who can only afford $12 to be able to join the ecosystem. And I think that's what those NFTs are going to be. And there will be some kind of separation that people are like, oh, these are the collectible versions of the Bored Ape system, the Bored Apes, the Mutants, and the Kennels. Everything else is gaming. And then certain gaming assets are more expensive, like the Otherdeed lands, because I'm sure at some point you'll be able to charge for like every step that someone steps on your land or whatever it is to get some extra benefits. And I think that's how Bored Apes will start to give monetary benefits back to the holders. Like if you've been holding the Otherdeed land, you now get airdropped X amount of money, just like royalties were. And I think that's what they're trying to build out, like that type of infrastructure. And that's kind of the way I see NFTs. And that's partially been helped because of the way Frank looks at the space. I've started to change the way I look. It's like, it can be everything. And, like Gary Vee is right. It's going to become everything and instead of or.
Yeah, I think that that's a very important distinction. And exactly what Cliff is saying is what you're saying, that they need more NFTs to gamify the ecosystem on the Otherdeed. And as you said, to make the entry point, $10 is, what you really want. And again, as people come in and enjoy it, then they can try and aspire towards owning a land itself, or a Coda itself, or even a Bored Ape itself. So I get it. But look, I do think that, yeah, I think that there's a lot going on here. I do follow what's going on quite heavily. I pride myself on knowing what's going on in this ecosystem. And I must tell you, even this week alone, there's been a lot of stuff that I've had to look up because they've just gone all out. It's been announcement after announcement after announcement. We had another announcement from them.
I was just going to say, like, what else would you want though? Like, how else would you want this stuff rolled out? Like, if you would you rather it be them drop everything instead of one announcement after another to give extra details each time. Like in the same way, if you bring up Pokemon or any game really, like I think what they're looking for is like in 3 years when it's all built out, instead of like waiting for 3 years to drop all the information when it's just all good to go, they're just like, we're just gonna let them know kind of how it goes as it goes. And I think that's I don't know of another way they could do this without, because they're building it in front of us and they're dropping things as it goes so that people can stick with the ride. And that's how we wanted it though. Like when we talked about gaming NFTs, that's literally how we wanted it to happen. It's just happening now, and it might potentially be affecting certain people's bags. And because we haven't gotten to a point where we've actually distinguished the different styles of NFTs, everyone just throws it under Yuga and says they're trying to like do all this stuff and expand too fast and have too many NFTs. And it's like, well, I think we just need to change the narrative. And I think that will happen over the next few months as people go, wait a second, I think this is what Yuga's doing, and maybe that'll be from me making a YouTube video. I don't know.
For sure. No, I agree. I think the building in public is the way to go. My concern, not so much with the Otherdeed as it is with these heavy metals, is dilution. And it's a very real concern. And I think it's a concern with very real merit. On the gaming side, I agree with you 100%. I think that's a different ecosystem, and that those are necessary. And we know that every single Otherdeed has got different resources on it and different things that I imagine are all going to be able to be separated from the land one day. So there's definitely is going to be a lot of those NFTs, and I think that's less worrying, a lot less worrying than it is in the main ecosystem, like we see with these mecha apes coming. Because remember, you got the heavy metal, you're still going to have the mecha apes. I mean, like literally, there's too many assets. 20,000 Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. There's 10,000 Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, 20,000 mutants. Another 10,000 kennel clubs at the very, very least. You got Meebits under there and CryptoPunks, arguably completely separate. You've now got another 30,000 heavy metals. You're also getting mecha apes coming. And it's getting too much for an ecosystem which only has like 5,000 daily active traders. You've got over 100,000 assets, not including Otherdeed and Otherside at all. They're leaving the gaming side out. And I just, like, at some point, there's just not enough demand for such a big supply.
I don't know though. I don't think it's about the demand. Like I think those NFTs aren't about demand, and so they're just
I'm not talking about the
getting
gaming. I'm not talking about the gaming. I'm talking about the heavy metal ones, which are going to turn into mecha apes. That's separate to the Otherdeed vessels that we've just discussed. So I'm saying even without the Otherdeed vessels, without Otherdeeds, which alone are 50,000, just Otherdeeds, vessels are going to be another 50,000. Then there's 10,000 Kodas. I'm not talking about the gaming side at all. I'm just saying Bored Apes, mutants, kennel clubs, and now the heavy metals. Those alone are 70, 80,000. Those are assets. That's not the gamified side. So I'm just thinking that could be too much. But look, as I said, every time I've doubted you, I've been wrong. So let's see. But that's my feeling on it. But the gaming side, I think they're doing great. They're building in public. As we said last week, everyone could bring along a friend. And never mind that, everyone could watch live, even if you weren't a friend or a guest and didn't have an Otherdeed. They really are trying to build something inclusive. That's different. The gaming side, the Otherdeed side, that's different. But the actual PFP side of things and their main collections, they continue to drop more NFTs.
I agree. But they're still doing collaborations like the one we're about to talk about.
Yeah. So we've got Gucci and Yuga announcing that they've got a long-term partnership together. So continue to explore the metaverse. This is from Gucci's official account. And just for anyone like relatively new to the space, this is what you want to see. And sorry for those on Twitter, if you're not watching the screen. If you want to, you can always jump onto the YouTube, which is pinned on the top of the spaces. But basically, it's just a picture of the bottle that they've always shown in the Otherdeed collection of the potion, but it's got Gucci written on it. And we've got Gucci's official account retweeting. So you always want to see that, like when your little NFT collection says we've just signed up with Warner Brothers, you want to go to Warner Brothers Twitter and see Warner Brothers tweeting about it as well to make sure, right? So here we've got Gucci. They're very, very excited for this long-term partnership together with Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is absolutely incredible. Because it's a bottle, we've got some people that's speculating it might be a type of perfume. Because it's a long-term partnership, we've got a lot of, and they say explore, and Gucci says exploring the metaverse. We got a lot of people who are saying there's probably clothing for the metaverse. But really very, very cool to see. Lots of rumors going around. Have you heard anything about this, Kate? What they think it's going to be and all the rest of that?
No, I just saw the collaboration posts, but I haven't dove deep into the actual details of it.
Yeah, so they definitely say here multi-year partnership.
Wow.
Which
Wow.
which is really cool. So it's not just like these collabs that you sometimes see where they literally drop one NFT and then they never do anything together again. Sort of like
Yeah.
we saw with Cat Blocks and Puma or whatever it may be. This they've both said is going to be a long-term partnership that's going to help them explore fashion, they mentioned, and entertainment. Which
Wow.
is really, really interesting. And they both companies, Yuga and Gucci, are incredibly excited about this, and they've called it a multifaceted partnership, which means that there's going to be a lot of different things going on. Remember that 10KTF and Beeple came on to Yuga. I do think that Gucci was a part of 10KTF for quite a while, and I
Mm.
think that this was quite a natural partnership together over here.
Yeah, no, that's fucking awesome too. Like, it only brings me back to when I was in LA a couple weeks ago, and I was in that room with Razorfish, the marketing agency, one of the biggest ones in the world, and the president was just 10 feet away from me, and I was hearing her talk about like, yeah, us and all our friends who are killing it. This is an inevitable future. That's why we're here in Web3. And I just remember being like, yes, I fucking knew it. Like
Yeah.
we all knew it. We've all known it. It's just like it's so nice when people who are successful and are crushing it and keep every year crushing it even more. And then they look at Web3 and they go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, this is the move. And to see companies like Gucci who have pretty much just either stayed or kept getting bigger every single time. Like I feel like Gucci, Louis V, I feel like those are probably the main ones that people know about who are like normal people, not like super rich people, but like normal people when they think of the luxury brands, think Louis V and Gucci especially. Gucci's probably, in my opinion, the biggest, maybe Supreme. But dude, what a fucking move. Gucci and Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like imagine if you have any asset. I imagine some part of the partnership will be something like if you own a mutant or a Bored Ape or a Ken or whatever, you just get to, if you buy a Gucci, whatever, there may be an option to customize very, very slightly on something that you want to order on certain drops, maybe like once or twice a year. They go, okay, we have the Bored Ape / Gucci drop. If you hold one and you connect your wallet, whatever, you can have one little altercation or alteration that maybe, shows one of the traits of your Bored Ape. I don't know, something like that. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, there's lots of options. I mean, I think all of it at this point is speculation, but I do agree with you. I think that would be really cool. We do know that Gucci and 10KTF did do a partnership with Gucci Grails previously. And we do know that even before Yuga acquired 10KTF, that Gucci was allowing ApeCoin as a valid mode of payments in some US stores. And that's since August last year. So this is not like something that's just sort of happened. I think that they've been trying to find synergy for quite a while, but to actually both come out and say, look, we're now doing an official multi-year partnership that's multifaceted and is going to help with fashion, the metaverse, I think you can expect to see anything. And if you Gucci, and you want to make sure, just say you're a Web2 brand like Gucci that is hugely well respected, you want to make sure your entry into Web3 is done well and is a professional one. What better way to do it than to partner with, not even arguably, but hands down the best builders in the space, Yuga Labs. So I think it is a win-win for both. I think for Yuga, it gives them the sort of notoriety of a Web2 brand like Gucci that's been around for, decades successfully. And for Gucci, it gives them the Web3 notoriety of Yuga. So yeah, this is very exciting, and I am going to be very interested to see what they have in store for us here for sure.
Yeah, this is really cool stuff, dude. This is really cool stuff because a multi-year partnership means they just are looking at the IP. They're looking at like, they're just like, that makes like to do a multi-year deal with an NFT brand. It's just so fucking bullish, bro. What the fuck? That is so a multi-year. A multi-year contract with the NFT project with a company like Gucci
and
That's wild.
multifaceted, meaning on different levels. We want it to be partly fashion, partly metaverse. We're going to accept ApeCoin. We're going to, like you said, possibly
Yeah.
give Bored Ape Yacht Club holders benefit in the real life stores, whatever. What a great thing to see. And
cool.
you got to know, just like we saw when Nike was having so much success, and we saw all of a sudden Adidas, Puma, Champion, all these different brands attempt to come into Web3. You've got to be sure that this is going to definitely get the likes of your Louis Vuittons and the guys up there on a level with Gucci. It's going to spark their interest, and I do think that they will do this cleverly, and I think that it's going to make a lot more people a lot more interested, a lot more Web2 companies a lot more interested in the space.
Also, so I just saw, so there's a guy on TikTok that I follow who's a beast. He does a lot more